Check out Ty Herndon's new album, Jacob, streaming everywhere now.
Hey guys, I'm Ty Herndon, and this is Soundboard, my podcast in partnership with Pivotal Moments Media. We invite you to listen in as we talk with my fellow artists about how they turn down the negative voices and turn up the positive ones in order to achieve their dreams and live healthy, happy, mentally fit lives. Welcome to the conversation. Hi there. So, LeAnn Rimes, thank you for coming. I'm going to say my dear friend LeAnn Rimes, thank you for coming on the show. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you today. And, you know, I know you and I, we've been through all kinds of stuff, and we've had some challenges. And one of the things that I love to say is we get the opportunity to kind of pick ourselves back up. And you've been such an inspiration to me and so many over the course of this amazing career. Since I've known you since you were, I think, 6 years old or something like that. I'm not sure, but
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we've known each other. I remember coming over to your house and with Bruce Roberts sitting at the piano and rehearsing On the Side of Angels. Maybe was that the song?
Oh yeah. Maybe. I don't, gosh, you have more recollection of that than I do. I think that part of my life is just like gone out into the atmosphere.
Texas days.
Yeah, Texas days for sure. It could have been, yeah. It probably was before my record deal.
Well, you know, I have this saying, you know, we from Texas to the Grammys to winning, you know, all the awards that you've won, and just this monumental vocalist and person that you are. And I just texted you this the other day. I said, you've just become this woman who still has this kid present, but has become so empowering to so many, and mostly to yourself. And it's just so beautiful. So, you know, I like to say we have the power to change our endings. And I've really found that out to be so true in the last 14 months of my life, going through some personal challenges as well around relapse and rebuilding. I like to say I'm completely rebuilding the town that lives inside of me. And I'm really careful what goes in the bricks, really careful what goes in the bricks and mortar in my town. And I like to see the jail empty. So, you know,
no, sometimes jail can be fun.
Well, it's just according to who you're in there with.
Just we don't hang out there for very long.
We do not, you know. Maybe on the outskirts of town. That would be about it. No, man, I've been really serious about that. I'm really kind of I'm really careful about who enter the gates of my city, and because I agree. It's a sacred room.
I mean, it is a sacred space, and the more and more I think you become this healthier space of peace for yourself. I think you're really careful about what, like you said, what you put in it, what you let in it, who you let in it.
A sacred, beautiful space that is healthy and happy, and really you attract. I found this to be true. I kind of, when I'm in this space, which I am 100%, million percent today, I find the people that the higher power or universe brings into my space, I can really tell pretty quickly if that's going to be good for me or not. So one of the questions I want to ask you, and I know this, but I don't think so, a lot of the fans do, at this point in your life, I would hate this if someone asked me this question, by the way, but I'm going to ask you it anyway. Who is LeAnn Rimes?
One of my favorite sayings is all the things. I feel like I'm all the things. Yeah, I mean, it depends on the day. Depends on like what day of my hormonal cycle I'm on, who you're gonna get.
The pharmacy in your town.
Exactly. I'm all the things. I mean, I think it's so amazing to me because I feel like this has been kind of a through line of my life and my career. It's, you know, I'm not one thing. I'm very complex.
I love that answer.
You know, like what I have to offer is layered, and I think the more and more I lean into that, like the happier I am.
I just wrote, there's a song I just wrote on the new record. I'm bringing the music in now called Lean In. Just about, you know, I think that if you listen, I think every moment in my life right now has become a teaching moment. Even the difficult things, I'm like, if I'm butting heads or something, I'm like, okay, what am I going to learn in this moment? And I really need to lean into that and figure out who I am in this space and what do I have to offer. And that's just been such a mental shift for me in that. And I think there's some part of you, I feel like I know a little bit who LeAnn Rimes is. And I feel like those layers are not accidental. A lot of times I feel like they're lessons that have become not an onion you peel, but an onion that you're building. And I love that. So I know who I think I know who you are. I think I know you're happy.
Yeah, I am. And you know, like today's been really rough for me. The last like 72 hours have been super rough mentally. And
thank you for being honest.
Yeah, no, they have been. And I'm happy too. Like, it's like both and. It's not one thing. And so, you know, like 1 minute I'm terrified and frozen in fear. And then, you know, 10 minutes later, I could be like running around outside in the grass. Like, it's just, that's what I mean by all the things. Like,
things.
I think the more I express like in the moment, like where I'm at and not contain that, like
and be wide awake.
Space there is.
Yeah, just being wide awake is such a thing for me. You know, you said grass. I actually, if it's not too cold outside, I try to get up in the morning and I meditate, and then I actually go put my bare feet in the grass and just kind of feel what the earth and God have to tell me today. And you know, sometimes it's big, sometimes it's not. And I just I've learned to. I think one of the biggest gifts that you can have is just learning to listen. And when I say listen, not maybe we're going to get into that in a minute, but just listen to yourself. What's going on in here and getting centered. I've watched you meditate since almost day one. I know that you get very centered in your day. And talking about fear, you know, it was just an hour ago that I'm sitting in the makeup chair going, okay, gosh, you know, with all the craziness that, you know, the clutter, and, you know, can I do this, you know, and being present and sober and mentally fit, and knowing that I'm going to sit down and talk to a friend who has been through some tough stuff and has been a teacher, not only to so many, but to herself. And I think it's just a beautiful quality to have. And congratulations on that. I know you're my sister and all, but I just, you know, I constantly just lifting you up, and I feel, you know, so much of that from you as well. I want to ask you about this. So I know that you have a big anniversary coming up. 25 years since this monster album just took country. I think Vince Gill said there's a new sheriff in town. Right, just blew up like crazy. So how does that? Oh my God, how does that feel?
I don't think I've wrapped my head around it still. It's I feel like I've been on this, like, I was going to say straight up trajectory, but it kind of feels like it's gone like this and then like this and then like this and like this. It's like, you know, it's just life. But,
wait, that's the music business, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it is life in general. I still feel like I'm on this, like, just really upward path. I mean, even though it's taken some like twists and turns, I feel like it's still gone this way, you know? And
sure. I feel you.
I just feel, I mean, I can't wrap my head around being in this business for as long as I have. I mean, I signed my record deal at 11 and
40 in August.
Man, I know the 11-year-old. I want to speak into that for a minute because it's a cute story. We were touring together. And you were co-headlining with me, you know, and we call it opening act in the music business. And I'd had a couple #1 records, and then all of a sudden, you know, this my friend had this huge record, and the booking agencies came to me and said, hey, listen, you're now the opening act because little girl is putting 5,000 butts in seats. Wait, little girl's putting 10,000 butts in seats. And all I can tell you is I remember you roller skating around the arenas. Yeah, when you're 11 and 12 years old. And I have to tell you, I thought that even in that moment, I instantly loved you, and I thought, great. Yeah. And you came back and you said, hey, I wish you come out and sing a couple of songs with me during, I think we did On the Side of Angels or I can't remember exactly what the song was. And you just made it fun. and we did
Well, that's good.
a bunch of shows
I love
together.
hearing that.
Yeah, man. So,
I've always loved singing with you. You're just so talented, and just your many gifts like stretch way beyond that. But
thank you, friend.
I just
love your kindness and the way that you do uplift people. And I don't think that people know how to uplift people in the way that we do unless you've been the one who's being needed to be, to be lifted. And
Yes.
when you know those moments of deep sorrow and those darker places that not all of us travel. I think as artists, we have the opportunity, to travel there and the ability to travel there a little deeper than most.
Yes.
That is so well said.
Yeah, I think it's amazing just to be able to come out of that knowing like how to lift people. I mean, it's a gift of traveling to those places.
Traveling to those places is so interesting you said that, because I'm going to ask you a question here real quick, but I had the opportunity over this last year to do some therapy called EMDR, and just kind of getting to go back into that tunnel of some very traumatic things that I'd never dealt with in my life, and how those moments became tar and feather in my soul, and it became so thick it was like cement, and having to go back and bust up that cement and then get to the root of the problems that were causing all this mental anguish in my life, and then being set free of that, and then knowing the daily work that goes with it to stay mentally fit. So with that said, I wanted to ask you this, because I know we watch country radio today and pop music, and the artists are getting younger and younger, and as a young star, if you had just a moment to go back in time and really talk to little LeAnn Rimes and say, oh my gosh, what would you tell her that she was going to have to really look out for to keep herself mentally fit as time rolled on?
What would I tell her? I think for me, it's so you don't have to chase anything. Like there's no
Wow.
Like let it come to you. What's yours will happen. And if you do things out of authenticity and passion, and if you listen, to those voices and what wants to come through you, who needs the message will find it. Like who, grow and change and evolve and allow people to fall away and rediscover you. And like, just as from specifically, I mean, this is speaking from an artist point of view, but also I think applies to all life. Like allow for the transformation, and you don't have to chase. That's probably some of the biggest stuff.
Who needs the message will find you.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. That is, I think that's going to be my next tattoo. Wow. Who needs the message will find you. Yes. That hit me right in the heart, because as entrepreneurs of music, of songwriters, we carry a huge, I'm going to jump over, I'm going to jump back. I'm jumping around a little bit. But I think we carry a huge responsibility, because in those lyrics, we have an opportunity to change people's endings, to help them change their endings and tell their story. I learned this a long time ago. If I'm telling my story, I'm telling a million people's story. And it's not that your story is not as unique and special. It's just that yours is being told in your own unique way, and it's being received in its own unique way. And so that's what I love about music. But I'm in partnership with this wonderful company called Pivotal Media, Pivotal Moments Media, and just great people. But in your journey, I really wanted to ask you this question because I want to know the answer to this. What have been some really cool pivotal moments in your life that has just shifted everything? Besides blue.
Yeah. Besides that, I think the most pivotal and I don't know if it was cool. I mean, maybe it was cool later on as a woman looking back. But I think, the moments which was early on in my career, I guess probably around 16, where I started to fight for myself and my voice back. And that meant to go into lawsuits with the record label and dad. And, I didn't know what the hell I was doing at the time. I just knew that what was happening to me, was wrong. It wasn't freedom. And someone took my voice in a way, and also gifted me with these beautiful opportunities. And there was so many things that were wrong with the moment of having a 16-year-old, bound to, 11-year-old at the time when I signed it, bound to a contract basically until, I don't think I would have been out of the contract till I was in my mid 30s. So, which ended up basically, it was right before that. I think it was 29, almost 30 when I was finally out of it. But I fought for my freedom, and I think in a lot of ways, so many people can relate to that I think we're all fighting for it in a lot of ways, and fighting for our own sovereignty and the ability to utilize our voices in the way that we desire. And, like you're saying, everybody has a message and everybody resonates differently, and what everyone has to say is important. And there is a responsibility in that too, of, what do I want to bring into the world? What message do I have to say? What do I want to put there, in the space that lifts up the space and not just fills it with noise? So I think that was the beginning, around 16 was the beginning of some massive pivotal moments of me, having no idea of what I was doing or why I was doing it, but I knew I had to. Yeah. And it looked like, it's interesting. It looked like rebellion for a kid. It would look like, power if I was a woman doing that. Right. And especially if I was a man, but if I, at 16, I was called every name in the book, spoiled brat and whatever else it was. And, that's been a real journey for me to understand that I have the right to my own voice and my own life and my own opinions. And so, when you know that something's wrong and you fight back about it and you get your hand slapped for it, it kind of sets you, especially so young, it kind of sets you on this path, talk about mental health. Yes. It goes, wait, I thought I was supposed to do this and be strong. And, right. So I don't know, that was probably the most pivotal. And now I've learned to take that rebellion. I still have that in me. But it instead of lighting a match to everything and burning it all down, I've gotten a little bit, I wouldn't say a lot, but a little bit more graceful about that. So yeah.
Listen, so you basically that was trauma, and that's that tar and feather I'm talking about that you have to eventually deal with. And without going way back and digging up old ghosts, you dealt with it so beautifully. And yes, in this business, there are name callers. There are people that want to put things on your shoulders that aren't true. There are people that want to enter your town and tear it down. And and we grow up and we figure out, hey, who the sheriff is in this town. And I'm the sheriff of my town, man. And I'm gonna run you to the edges and on down to the next county, because this is my house. You don't have a seat at this table. Now, people can have a seat at this table that need help. That a message, something that's happened to me that I can give to you. I don't even say it's a gift. It's a gift to me to be able to give back to someone and have these conversations. So I always say, this is one of my favorite sayings. I got it from my sponsor. Ty, are you listening to the whisper? Because if you are, there are breadcrumbs. If you listen to the whisper and follow the breadcrumbs, you're going to land in a place that maybe you don't like, but you're going to be safe. And I love that so much, and I'm experiencing that so much right now. So I'm just wondering, and then I'm going to get on to talking about new music because I really want to talk about this. So, have you ever experienced something like that? That's kind of a whisper, a knowing that you knew you had to do something.
Oh my God, I experience knowings every moment of my life. That's like, oh yeah. Sometimes I wish I didn't experience so many of them. I've learned that it's a gift, but it's also, you know, for a long time, it's felt like a curse. I mean, because it's, you know, you feel like when you said breadcrumbs leading you to somewhere that you might not like, I'm like, are we supposed to like this game? Like, that's what I feel sometimes is like, aren't the breadcrumbs supposed to lead us somewhere good? And it does. It eventually leads you to the good, but it's like some of the steps that we get there can be incredibly painful. Yeah. No. And can you speak that truth? And can you also allow that truth to not be true 10 minutes from now?
Wow.
Can you just be honest to the moment? And the more like I tell right now, and I allow myself to evolve from that truth, because, you know, to me, like, what is truth anyways? It's except for the expression of what's coming up right now. I just feel like that to me is the way of freedom is to follow that path, to follow the path of truth, to follow the path also of what feels good. I think we've all grown up like work hard, like you have to grind, you have to do all the things. And like right now in my life, like I'm trying to follow this path of like, what's easy? Like what feels easy? Can I let it be easy? Can I like actually go to the place that feels good and not have to go to the place that's like trauma filled because it's familiar. So for me, yes, those knowings come, like they're mental, they're physical, like, you know, I get chills from things sometimes. You know, I hear stuff just drop in that I know just to have a knowing. I hear song lyrics drop in, like, and I just have to write it down. I've learned to write everything down, or else I know that it'll go to the next person. It'll just like keep going. It's amazing.
Listen, I think you answered my next question, but I had to learn how to live in joy. It wasn't something that I was all that familiar with. So just one more question, and I want to move on to music. But what, besides music, I know that's a big thing, what brings you joy?
I'm still learning that. Oh man, I'm still learning that. That's like the hardest. I'm a list person. I'm a Virgo. I like to make a list. A good list it makes me so happy. And I've sat down to make like what brings me joy list. And it's the hardest damn list to make. And I know one thing that brings me the most joy, and it's, and like I said, I've lost 72 hours for me have been really tough, and I've thrown myself into creating. And as soon as I create, like, oh, it's just like everything else just disappears. And that could be anything from songwriting to candle making to dinner, like whatever feels creative, and gets me into that place of wonder and awe. And when I can create something, I love this about music and anything I just mentioned, but when you can create something from absolutely nothing, like out of thin air, it's just this place where you just become, and you're just in awe of the process. And so I think anything creative for me is, and allowing myself to like experiment and it not look good or not sound good or not taste good. Like that's the hardest part for me, because I grew up, you know, as everything had to look so perfect in this little box. And it's like the wild of the process is where all the magic is. And I'm still learning that. And so the more I, like you saying, lean into things, the more I lean into that process, like the more joyful things become.
Ooh, you bring me joy. Yes, you do. Hey, and that's my cue for myself to ask you about God's work. Tell me about
yes.
Tell me about this new record.
Oh, I have no words for it yet. I was listening to it last night. Someone, the mastering lab had made me, a vinyl of it, and I put it on. I was just crying and just sitting there like,
Do the same thing.
yeah, no, it's, like this came through me. And, to me, God's work is, it's funny. I actually have a tattoo that says God's work, and it has a lowercase g. And I remember putting it on Instagram, and people gave me so much hell. They were like, why didn't you capitalize the G? And I'm like, that's the whole point that you're missing, aren't you? I'm like, we can never get to God's work because we're all talking about this. Like, so my whole point of my record is to show the beauty of life, the masculine, feminine, the totality of things, knowing that God doesn't, for me, God, universe, the energy of creation doesn't cease to exist in any corner. And so, for me, it's not about it's not about excluding anyone, or anything. And so, if we can get past the doctrine and the all of the things that we like to argue about, we actually get to the reason why we're here. And so that's the message of the record.
Changing your ending. I love that, man. Listen,
Absolutely.
I adore you, LeAnn Rimes. My God, you're my sister, and thank you for being on this show, and thank you for having this little chat with me today. And I just, all of us at Pivotal Media and all of your fans and new fans, thank you for being you. It's pretty amazing.
Thank you for having me. I love you so much. I'm so proud of you.
So proud of you.
Bye, guys. Take care.
Bye, baby. Thank you for joining us for this edition of Soundboard. I'm Ty Herndon, reminding you to turn down the negative and turn up the positive on the soundboards of your own life.